Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. This week we saw the release of the final trailer for Justice League. To my mind, we probably have already seen enough trailers, and my intention was to avoid it, but then I remembered that I do a show for Superman homepage, and probably people would think it was a little weird if I didn't talk about the trailer. So I'm going to use you as an excuse to force myself to watch yesterday multiple times to try and hear everything. You know, I mentioned this at the last trailer where I had a difficult experience hearing what people were saying. Aquaman says a quote, and then Batman tells him, no, that's the exact opposite of the quote, that's the wrong quote. But after several viewings, I still didn't know what Aquaman had said, so I had to look it up. And what he says is, the stronger man is stronger alone. This is an interesting quote because usually that's who we think of when we think of Batman. He's this loner, he doesn't like working with anybody else, although there have been many incarnations of the Justice League and he's usually a part of it. He's on the animated series and he tells them straight out when they need his help, and they will, he'll come. But other than that, he works alone, and then he's in almost every episode. That being said, in this version of the story, we have already seen a Batman who clearly tried to work alone and did not like the results that made him want to kill Superman and be this not hero. And so he changed his mind and has decided instead to dedicate his life to honoring Superman's memory, starting this group, and going back to being the hero that he hopefully once was. So when Aquaman says that the stronger man is stronger alone, this is against Bruce's new ideology. And it is against the general idea of the movie, and that is bringing all these heroes together to make a stronger group, stronger together, so that they can fight whatever threats are going to come. And Batman feels through his dream, I guess that's his only evidence, that there is something stronger coming. Also, Lex tells him, I guess, in the jail at the end of the movie, that the bell's already been rung and something is already coming, so it's a little bit too late for warnings and threats, and that Lex is just a piddly little man in the face of what Bruce will soon be facing, and therefore he realizes he needs a little help from his friends. And that brings us to this last trailer, where we finally get our first glimpse of Superman, but we don't see Superman proper, we see Superman in a dream of Lois's, or at least that's what it looks like. Now, I don't want to alarm you, but I wouldn't be surprised if this dream is all we get of Superman until maybe the very end of the movie. It's been said multiple times that he's going to show up during the third act of the movie, and that his return is going to be epic. So it can't only be the dream, otherwise, you know, unless they're just lying, because there's nothing epic about standing in a cornfield with a plaid shirt on, telling Lois in her dream that you see that she accepted your proposal. So there will be some return. We've already been told it's not going to be major, it's not going to be long, he's not a big presence in the movie, but his presence is felt throughout the entire movie, and that he does have a big epic return toward the end of the third act. So we're looking forward to seeing that. At the same time, there wasn't much new shown in the trailer other than this dream with Clark. Wonder Woman standing on a big statue looking cool. We see more of Aquaman, a little shot of him swimming. The interesting thing about Aquaman's quote is that it was a quote, and then a quote also similar to that quote was used by Hitler. It's interesting that Aquaman would quote that when he's one of the heroes of the movie, although he is sort of a dictator. I mean, he's not in the negative sense of the word. He's a king, and generally kings are the one sole ruler of those types of kingdoms. But it's interesting that he uses that quote when it can be attributed to such a horrible villain in the real world, and Batman either doesn't know that quote the way Aquaman is using it, or he's referring to an earlier conversation where he mentions that the stronger man is not as strong alone, or something along those lines, and we'll see that in the movie. I've already heard complaint that that's an error in the writing, because Batman should know every quote that's ever been made, and there's no reason that he shouldn't recognize a quote that Aquaman says. I understand Batman's the be-all, end-all. I understand he's very smart. I understand he knows a lot of things. That doesn't necessarily mean he knows every single quote that's ever been said throughout the history of time, and I'm okay with it if he doesn't know some things. Overall, I think I would have been happier if Superman wasn't shown at all in the trailer, though I am happy that we did not see actual Superman. We saw a dream version of Superman. We saw Lois thinking of Superman. And this leads us back to Lois being the key, Lois helping him remember maybe, Lois bringing him back into the fold, not being directly responsible for him having his powers or directly responsible for him being a hero, but perhaps helping him to remember who he once was when he comes back with less of memory after he is dead, as he did in the comics, though some people are saying that the Codex was imprinted with Steppenwolf and that Superman himself will be Steppenwolf. I don't like this. I don't like this idea. I don't like another movie where Superman is fighting against other heroes. But we'll see what happens. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, always say yes.